Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, sure, I can try. I'll take a shot at it. I'm a trumpeter, jazz musician from New Orleans, who spent probably the majority of my career trying to change the concepts and perceptions of what it is that people define jazz music as. So I guess that would be the easiest way to sum up what I feel my contribution is and who I am as an artist.
All right, so I got a really important question for you.
Okay.
Lakers or Celtics?
Lakers.
Lakers.
Yeah.
All right, man.
You want to know why, or that's fine for you.
Well, I heard you're a big basketball fan, so if you care to elaborate, let's go for it, man.
Yeah, well, it's to be honest with you, it's not anything that's derived from some sort of ideological stance in context of how basketball is played. I like the Lakers because when I was growing up in New Orleans, and if you were poor and you didn't have cable, then the only team that would be on every weekend was Los Angeles. So that made most New Orleanians that grew up in New Orleans in the late '80s and the '90s Lakers fans. So that's why I like the Lakers. It doesn't have anything to do with any type of basketball pedigree or anything like that. It just has to do with what was on television when I was growing up.
That's cool, man. So on this show, I don't know if we just played it or if we're gonna play it right after, but I'm playing Angola, LA, and the 13th Amendment from your last CD. Yesterday, you said tomorrow.
Sure.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that song for people again who don't know like your style or your music or
Sure.
what the song's about?
Yeah, well, I mean that particular composition is actually about something that's very, very a very scary idea and a very scary law that's been allowed to permeate in America. And what that song is about is the 13th Amendment and the people that it affects. The 13th Amendment of the United States Bill of Rights basically says that in the United States and any of its territories or any place under its jurisdiction, if a person is convicted of a crime, that it's perfectly legal to make them a slave or an indentured servant. And this is not something that most people know. Take it from me, I probably do about 240, 250 concerts a year all over the world, and maybe a third of them are in America, and most Americans don't know, and almost all Europeans, and if you go to Asian countries as well, they don't really know either. But I think to be existing in 2010 and actually have to illuminate certain types of problems with legal matters, to the American public is, I mean, especially ones that are this old, is kind of strange to be in that position. But basically, the song is about the 13th Amendment and the idea that slavery is still technically illegal, whether or not it's in practice is subject to different people's interpretation. But technically, it's still legal, and it's a problem that I have. And I wanted to write a song that illuminated that idea and brought that idea forth as a means to try and change it.
All right, man. That sounds amazing.
Well,
so do you feel like as an artist, it's sort of, your role to be able to carry a message to society? Is there like other message that you transmit to people through your music?
Yeah, well, I feel like not just as an artist, but as a man, I feel like, I think in most people's experiences, when they find something to be objectable, or they find something that a person is doing or superimposing onto another person as being, if they see it as being not laudable, typically don't do anything about it. I've seen, at least in the demographic that I'm around the most, which is young Americans, that they don't really say enough about the negative attributes of their experiences. So rather than looking at it as an artist and saying as an artist, and it's my job to illuminate certain ideas, I'll say that as a man, if I find something objectable and I feel that there's something that I can do something about, then as a man, then it's my duty to do something about it. And my life's work is about refining music. So, of course, it makes sense that I chose that as my outlet in context to how I try and convey these or illuminate these ideas to people.
That's cool. I got one last one for you.
Okay, cool.
A lot of people I find today in like the more modern jazz, the more like rock pop influenced stuff, they actually they do a cover to get noticed and to sort of get their name on the map. I find one thing that's unique about your career is you got to your fourth or fifth CD without a cover.
Sure. But, yeah, that's pretty funny. I never thought about it like that, Sebastian.
But yeah,
yeah.
But I mean, because most of the other people I listen to it is because they started off with a cover. So I find like you were able to like brand yourself to who you are today. Why did you finally decide to play the Eraser by Tom York?
The cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's strange when I think of all of that because, you know, it wasn't until after it was recorded and people made me aware of the fact that it was a cover. Because here's the funny thing of, you know, of course we were playing a song that's not ours, right?
Yeah.
But the song conceptually as a composition, the song was so captivating to me on a compositional level that I never even viewed it as something that exists in the canon of what's popular or not, just because it was such an artistic composition. You know, there are all types of aesthetic rules that are being broken in the composition of the Eraser that Tom York wrote. So that's why I was initially interested in it and did it. And it wasn't until after it was done that people were like, "Oh, you're covering Tom York," and I was like, "What do you see?" You know, at first it didn't even make sense to me, and then eventually, you know, as more people brought it to my attention, I realized that I guess technically that's what we did. You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, as far as the albums before that are concerned, you know, I mean, my life's work is just about making sure that the next generation of musicians have options and context to the palettes that they choose to go into, as opposed to feeling that they have to be pigeonholed into one way. So, I'm all about changing palettes and changing the soundscape of the music. So anything that helps me with my work, I'm going to try and illuminate to other people. This just happens to be one of the compositions that I thought was captivating that I decided to put on a recording.
So I mean, you played with Tom York since the record came out. Did he talk to you about the cover? Did you listen to it before you got?
Yeah, I mean, he checked the whole album out.
Oh, yeah.
And he told me he really dug what we were doing. He thought it was incredibly courageous and adventurous and new.
All right.
But in context of playing his song, he just told me that he liked my treatment of the composition, that he was enamored by, and it was quite interesting.
Well,
but
that's a huge
compliment.
But I don't think, right?
But we never reacted to it as if it was like, you know, some type of music industry cover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like two musicians or two artists talking about real composition.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I want to thank you for doing this for us. For me, you're like one of like the biggest role model for people to look up to right now in the jazz industry, and you have a very, very exciting career. So it's really an honor to have you on board.
Well, no, man, thank you. I really appreciate those words. They're really kind, and I know that they're completely sincere, and I appreciate that. But I'd like to also add on to that I'm, you know, deeply indebted to you, you know, for your kindness over the time span that we've known each other, and I really think the things that you're doing for this music and the causes that you're championing for musicians are not only valiant, but they're very necessary. I appreciate you as well.
Well, thank you very much, man.
It's all good.
So I got your back, man, and well, I guess we'll see you this summer at the Montreal Jazz Festival.
Cool beans. We're gonna come and lay it down.
All right, peace, man.
All right, Joe.
Take care.